Canada is one of the most respected countries in the world, and Canadians are often welcomed warmly wherever they go. But in 2025, not every destination is safe or friendly for Canadian travelers. Political tensions, crime, corruption, and unstable governments have made some countries extremely dangerous, where Canadians face discrimination, harassment, or even life-threatening risks. In today's video, we'll uncover the top 10 countries where Canadians are treated badly in 2025. From war zones to nations with strict laws and anti-foreign sentiment, here are the places Canadians should think twice before visiting this year. 10. China. China has become one of the most concerning destinations for Canadians in 2025 due to its harsh legal system and political tensions with Canada. Canadian citizens face risks of arbitrary detention, surveillance, and unfair trials. In some cases, Canadians have received the death penalty for non-violent crimes, highlighting the severity of punishments. Travel advisories warn of unpredictable law enforcement, limited consular access, and political sensitivity, especially regarding dual citizenship. Tensions between Ottawa and Beijing have escalated following the execution of 4 Canadian citizens, creating a sense of hostility. Canadians are advised to exercise extreme caution while in China. 9. Philippines. The Philippines is popular among Canadian tourists, but it presents serious risks. Canadians are urged to avoid travel to Mindanao, the Sulu Archipelago, and other southern regions due to terrorism, armed conflict, and kidnapping threats. Militants have targeted foreigners in the past, and Canadians could be singled out. Street crime, violent robberies, and scams are also common, particularly in urban areas. Political unrest and natural disasters further complicate safety. While major tourist areas like Boracay and Cebu are relatively safe, the overall advisory for Canadians is to exercise a high degree of caution, especially when traveling outside major resorts. 8. Madagascar. Madagascar, though rich in biodiversity, poses significant dangers for Canadians in 2025. Political instability, high poverty levels, and growing crime rates contribute to safety concerns. Foreigners, including Canadians, have been victims of violent assaults and robberies, particularly in Antananarivo and coastal regions like Battery Beach. The lack of effective law enforcement, combined with weak infrastructure, makes traveling difficult and risky. Health services are limited, and outbreaks of diseases such as plague have occurred in recent years. With rising protests and occasional political violence, Canadians are strongly advised to remain vigilant, avoid isolated areas, and limit travel after dark. 7. India. India attracts many Canadian visitors, but tensions between Ottawa and New Delhi have heightened in recent years, affecting the treatment of Canadians. Politically, strained diplomatic relations have led to stricter scrutiny at airports and visa challenges. Safety risks include terrorism in certain regions, particularly Jammu and Kashmir and northeastern border states, where travel is discouraged. Petty crime, harassment, and scams are also common in urban centers. Cultural misunderstandings can sometimes escalate into confrontations. Although India remains a vibrant destination, Canadians may feel unwelcome in politically sensitive areas, and the government urges them to stay alert and avoid conflict zones. 6. Lebanon. Lebanon remains highly volatile in 2025. Despite intermittent ceasefires, the country faces risks of sudden airstrikes, civil unrest, and sectarian clashes. Canadians may be targeted during political protests or inadvertently caught in violent outbreaks. Infrastructure is weak, and essential services like electricity and healthcare are unreliable. Travel advisories recommend avoiding certain regions near the Syrian border and southern Lebanon, where armed groups are active. Canadians face the risk of arbitrary detention or being stranded if violence escalates. While Lebanese hospitality is renowned, the unstable security environment creates significant dangers for Canadian visitors, making it an unwelcoming destination in 2025. 5. Ukraine. Ukraine remains unsafe for Canadians due to the ongoing war with Russia. Missile strikes, drone attacks, and widespread destruction continue to threaten civilians daily. Canadians who remain in Ukraine face extreme risks, including injury, limited access to healthcare, food shortages, and constant power disruptions. Martial law and curfews are strictly enforced, with foreigners potentially subject to suspicion. Consular services are severely restricted, leaving Canadians with little support if problems arise. The conflict zones in eastern and southern Ukraine are especially hazardous. For these reasons, the Canadian government strongly advises avoiding all travel to Ukraine until stability is restored. 4. Myanmar. Myanmar's political crisis has escalated since the military coup, and Canadians face growing dangers in 2025. Armed conflict between the junta and resistance forces has intensified, spreading across many regions. Foreigners risk arbitrary detention, military checkpoints, and sudden violence. Internet blackouts and curfews are common, leaving travelers isolated during emergencies. Bombings, protests, and clashes occur frequently, particularly in Chin, Kachin, Rakhine, and Sagaing states. The weak healthcare system and collapsing economy further worsen conditions. Canadians are warned to avoid all travel to Myanmar, as the risk of being caught in armed conflict or human rights abuses is extremely high. 3. North Korea. North Korea remains one of the most hostile places for Canadians in 2025. The regime enforces extremely strict laws, with foreigners facing arbitrary detention, forced confessions, and long prison sentences for minor infractions. Canadians have virtually no consular support, as Canada has no diplomatic presence there. Tourists are tightly controlled, with restricted movement and constant surveillance. Even small gestures, like taking photos of government buildings, can lead to severe punishment. The political climate makes Canadians especially vulnerable to being used as bargaining tools in diplomatic disputes. For these reasons, travel to North Korea is highly dangerous and strongly discouraged. 2. Venezuela. Venezuela is deeply unsafe for Canadians due to political chaos, extreme crime, and economic collapse. Violent crimes like armed robbery, kidnapping, and carjacking are widespread, even in daylight. Shortages of food, water, fuel, and medicine create further hardships for visitors. The unstable government and anti-foreign sentiment increase risks for Canadians, who may face harassment or suspicion. Protests frequently erupt, sometimes turning violent. Healthcare facilities are severely underfunded, making medical emergencies life-threatening. The Canadian government advises avoiding all travel to Venezuela, as the risks outweigh any potential benefits. For Canadians, Venezuela in 2025 remains one of the world's most hostile places. 1. Haiti. Haiti is currently the most dangerous country for Canadians to visit in 2025. The nation is plagued by rampant gang violence, kidnappings, and widespread lawlessness. Armed groups control large parts of the capital, Port-au-Prince, and target foreigners for ransom. Political instability has paralyzed government functions, and airports frequently close due to unrest. Essential services such as healthcare, transportation, and clean water are scarce. Canadians who remain in Haiti face constant threats of assault, robbery, or abduction, with little to no consular assistance available. For these reasons, the Canadian government strongly urges all citizens to leave Haiti immediately if possible.